Mike's Daily Podcast.
Oh, I'm doing this show, and the lady that you just heard, my cousin, is playing this game.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
In Germany that has a funny name, and I'm going to tell you what it is. But first, it's called Knobelblock. Ew, I don't know what that means. It's like Yahtzee with dice, and they usually eat some cheese with it, but no rice. Germans don't really eat rice. They do the Spätzle.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That's sort of their pasta of choice. So my cousin, I guess I should
Mike's
do a
Daily
Google Hangouts
Podcast
call with her, but
yeah,
I got sidetracked and I'm doing this now. Because you're important to me, podcast listener. Well, what could be the podcast picture for today? I'm going to go back in time to earlier this week. Oh, we saw this cat last night. There are these cats that live, there's like a senior retirement center, and the cats are being taken care of, it appears, by the seniors that live there. And there's one really friendly one. It kind of reminds me of a cat my grandma had named Smitty. In fact, I once wrote a story about Smitty and imagined him being a cat that lived on a boat. So I called him Smitty the Sea Kitty. And he fought elephants that blew fire out of their trunk. Yes, they blew fire out of their trunk. It was a little bit strange, but this is a child. A child came up with these ideas. So it was a little bit odd.
Are you out of your mind?
What is the matter with you?
It was just a child. It was just a child, a small kid.
Well, it's not my fault.
That's what happened there with that.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I was running around as a kid, just having a good time.
Anarchy! I don't even know what that means, but I love it!
All right, so the podcast picture, we'll go back once again. I posted the podcast picture yesterday of me carrying a Brindle box that contained my late great Brindle boxer. And so you can see that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. But I think today we'll post a picture that has to do with wonderful gourds. Oh, that's right, Basil. Gourds. Yes, pumpkins, Basil. Pumpkins. And you can see that picture of me with a pumpkin. We went to this place. What was this place even called? I don't know. Something Farms? Cafe, anyway. It's a little bit north of Pescadero. And you see it, if you're driving up north from Pescadero, you'll see it on the right-hand side. On the east side of the street. So, anyway. Cafe, anyway. See that at mikesdailypodcast.com. Well, it's a beautiful day. I'm enjoying that crisp, that clear smell you feel in the air, that you smell in the air, that October smell that you can smell even in California. Oh, by the way, speaking of, I talked about Spreaker last show. The website that features my podcast, one of the places you can catch my podcast on. And I'm down like another 25 downloads. I don't know who really even downloads podcasts anymore. You usually just listen to them, but they, for some reason, classify them as downloads. So I'm down a nutter, and I'm going nutty. Oh, Tough Mudder. I was talking to Ken. Ken did his little accent from that particular little area that he's from in the nation originally. And he says Mutta. And the Mutta, actually someone also told me that is a horse that likes to run in the mud. And it's really good in the mud in horse races when it's raining. And I didn't know they allowed horse racing in the rain, but I guess they do. And this is according to someone I know from the East Coast, as we say here in the West Coast. But the Mudder, used to be a thing called Tough Mudder here in California. It was all the rage about 8 years ago. It was huge, and people would do this. I mean, you would not be able to do this now. Why? Because
oh my,
people would. Are you kidding me? In the mud?
Are you out of your mind?
Be in the mud like that now with coronavirus and all of that. First off, that mud contained all kinds of bacteria, and everybody was sloshing through it. It was an obstacle course. And people did it because they needed to prove something, that they were strong and they were invincible and nobody could stand in their way. And people would tell them, do it! I'm doing it. Everybody else from work is doing it. You need to do it. They do the peer pressure on them to get them to go. Oh, it's going to be fun. Don't worry about it.
Whoa.
And then they go and they jump in this mud and they come down with, all the stuff. Meningitis. All the stuff that you get from mud. But it was just all the rage. I'd say 2012, 2013. Everybody was posting it on their Facebook. I did Tough Mudder. Oh, I'm amazing.
Oh, well. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-la, yeah.
The thing is that now I don't hear too much about it, and I don't think they're doing it anymore, but... Oh, and people would throw out their shoes, because the shoes would be caked in mud, and they didn't want to take it home. It's going to be so messy. Even though they said at the beginning of the race...
I spelled my name, Danger.
Now they had muddy shoes, and so Tough Mudder made their shoes. Tough Mudder killed shoes. That's what Tough Mudder did. Kill shoes. So there'd be this huge pile of muddy shoes as we go outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont today. I think we have to be, what I'm saying is, I think we got to be leery. We got to be aware of these ridiculous fads that sweep us away. And don't get swept away by peer pressure. I know you heard your parents tell you that, but it's true. So many stupid things happen. I hear financial advisors all the time say, don't get swept up in the fear. Don't sell everything, and then you're regretting it later. Don't get swept up in the fear of coronavirus and do things like never leave your house, ever, and just no. But am I repeating myself? I hate to repeat myself, and I maybe just have done that. And if I repeated myself, I would like to offer this to you.
Sorry.
Let's see. I wrote here virtual races. Oh, speaking of races, like Tough Mudder, which I guess wasn't really a race. It was more of, can we finish this obstacle course? So virtual races now, how is that done? I guess you're supposed to do it on your own. They give you an distance, a distance they want you to complete, and then you do it during your own speed, and then you post it on some website. How do they know? I guess because I use Google Fit, and it shows when I go on a walk, it maps my route. There used to be a Map Your Run website back. This is way back before the apps took off. You could do this on your website, and you would actually have to on your computer rather, through a website, and you'd click on the route. You'd find where you walked, and then you'd map it yourself. But now your phone can do it for you because you give permission to some GPS system, and then they know where you go, and they use that, and they harvest that information. Thank you very much for harvesting my information, not giving me any money for it. But still, it's a great way to measure how far you go, where you go. And I guess they do that now for races. Virtual racing, virtual runs, I guess, is how we got to do it now, because we can't race together. because of the coronavirus and people coughing and saying stuff like,
I think I'm getting the black lung, Bob.
I was listening to a show on the way into work today that talked about a town in Montana where people, they're worried about coronavirus now, even though I think it's a red state, because, red states typically, it seems, don't care too much about coronavirus. Mask? Why do I gotta put a mask on? Don't forget that I spell my name Danger. And then they can't breathe anymore, and
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
And they fall down. No, but this town, it was a mining town, and for years they had just left all the stuff they had pulled out of the mines, just left it on the side of the road, and there were schools next to these huge mounds, and people were inhaling asbestos. And there's all these people in this town in Montana that can't breathe, and now there's coronavirus, and they can't breathe with that either, and they're really prone to dying from coronavirus. It was an amazing story I heard on NPR. I admit it. Once in a while, they give me some news that I can use, but that fascinates me. So there you go. Everybody just, whatever, the politicians got away with it. The big businesses got away with it. And there's, the townspeople hate that company that was the mining company that created all of this dust. And wow, I got a little dark on today's podcast, but the podcast picture is me and pumpkins, and that's the most important thing from today's podcast. That, and that the last show featured my lovely lady friend, so you should go back and listen to it. It was, let's see, episode 2135. So this be 2136. Tell your friends about the show and pass it along to other people, and let me know what you think. 336mm daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews daily, as in what this podcast tries to be. Look who's outside a cafe anyway. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart. That's really sad about that town. It is. But we live here in the Bay Area. All kinds of smoke was in the air. All kinds of stuff all over California in the air. Who knows what we're breathing in? Mike Matthews, you're really paranoid. I'm not paranoid. I just don't trust anybody or anything, and I live under a rock. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere, the engineer, Mike. I really got a lot out of today's show, but now I got to tell you.
That's enough. Put down the mic.
You're right. I think I need to put down the mic. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Madame Rutabaga Valentino and Bison. Nope. It'll be Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. And perhaps this wonderful animal will be back. Benita. Benita's horse. Nilly, I'm sorry. That's not Benita. Benita's not here. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Benita. That's all right. I don't take it personally. Look what I brought y'all, Mike. You brought me something? Yeah. Oh, we were talking about these last show. These beautiful animals. Donkeys. And I can't find my donkey sound effects, so you'll just have to assume that there was a donkey here at this part of the podcast. I know, I just blew it. There should have been a donkey sound effect. And I don't have it. That donkey sound effect is so elusive. I see it here and in other... Maybe someday I'll find that donkey sound effect. But Mike, that just was a donkey sound effect. Oh, it was? Okay. Good. Thank you. All right, no more animals. We got to wrap up the show. Next show, Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. And now, all the places you can catch this wonderful show. Take it away, Fran.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!